Moving up from the bases for the funnels, I can now construct the funnels themselves. The funnels, although look simple, are going to be quite complicated. And that is primarily due to the need to replace this plastic grating at the top of the funnel with photo-etch. And unfortunately, the design of that structure in the FlyHawk Super Detail Upgrade Kit is not very good. And it's actually very tricky to construct. And since there are two funnels, I have to do it twice. The full construction of the funnels is going to take multiple videos because there are a few modifications that need to be made to them. In this video, I will remove the plastic components, glue them together, open up the top of the funnel, and install the grating. While I prepare the plastic components for the funnel, I just want to point out to anybody that's using these videos as a guide for building their own HMS hood, that I'm not building the funnels in the optimal order. By the end of this video, the funnel's grills will be installed, and those are very delicate components, and I won't actually have done any of the other modifications that I need to do to the plastic of the model. Ideally, you should complete the modifications to the plastic of the funnel first before installing the grill. Essentially, that means that the steps that I complete in the video that comes after this video should be completed before this video. So just keep that in mind. Now that the plastic parts are ready, I can begin construction. First, I'm going to glue the sides of the funnel together. I just hold them together and apply extra thin plastic cement to the seam line. Once the glue has dried, I then run the base of the funnel over a sheet of sandpaper to ensure that it is level and smooth. The seam line then needs a little bit of attention. I clip off the last of the excess plastic that was joining the funnels to their sprue and then file down the gap. After filing and sanding the area, the joint line is still visible, so I fill it with a little bit of plastic putty and then set it aside to dry. While the putty is drying, I'm going to cut out this rather ugly plastic grill. There is quite a lot of plastic in this grill, and it requires a bit of hacking through with clippers until I get the majority of these grill-like structures removed. Now that most of the grills on top of both of the funnel caps has been removed, I need to remove this horizontal piece. I start by drilling holes in it using a pin vise, subsequently making those holes bigger and bigger and bigger until I'm able to get the tip of a fine saw into them. I then carefully saw lines between the holes, and I am eventually able to drop out a diamond shape in the center of the funnel cap. It's still quite a constrained space, so I continue to saw new lines and slowly open up new sections of this funnel cap. Once the hole is large enough, I then insert a cylindrical grindstone into it and finish cleaning up the edge using a Dremel. This is by far the fastest and easiest way to open up these funnel caps. Once the Dremel has removed almost all of the plastic, I then finish it using a cylindrical file. This process has to be repeated for the second funnel cap. Without some form of power tool to remove the majority of this plastic, this would be a considerably more tedious process, so it is definitely worth using something like a Dremel to do this, and it gives you a really good result. Once the inner section of the funnel cap is cored out, I then want to ensure that the top and bottom are nice and level, so I place it on my sheet of sandpaper and give it a few swipes just to clean off any rough edges. The funnel caps are now ready to be installed on the funnel and have the photo-etch installed on them. But before I install them onto the funnel, I need to clean up this plastic putty that I use to fill the gap between the sections of the funnel. First, I file off the excess, and then I use 400 grit sandpaper to smooth off that surface. The funnel caps can now be installed. I place them onto the funnel dry, and then glue them in place using extra thin plastic cement. Due to the plastic ridge on the top of the funnel that is used to help locate the funnel cap, you can see this band on the inside of the funnel. That shouldn't be there. So once the glue has dried, I can remove that. And I remove that band in the same way that I removed the inside section of the funnel cap. I use the cylindrical grindstone on the Dremel. I just need to be careful not to be overly enthusiastic and grind all the way through the wall of the funnel. But there's plenty of plastic over here, so there isn't really much risk of that. Once that's complete, I then clean up the inner section of the funnel using a round file again. That then leaves the proper effect for the inside of the funnel. The first photo etch that I'm going to install are these platforms that go inside the funnel. After cutting them off their fret and then position them inside the funnel, I have to insert them from the bottom, position them up near the top of the funnel, and then glue them in place. This is fairly tricky and did require quite a bit of trial and error. These components do not perfectly fit the inside of the funnel, but they are close enough. There were some structures inside the funnel that I had to remove. For example, those places where you have a pin and a hole that help you align the sides of the funnel together. That got in the way, so I had to remove those. I did all of that with the Dremel. It's not difficult to do that. And once they're glued together, they aren't really required anymore anyways. After positioning the photo etch in place, I then glue it down using extra thin super glue that I apply with my super glue applicator. This might look a bit strange, but it's at this point that I want to paint the inside of the funnel. And that's because when I put the photo etch grill on top of the funnel, any paint that I want to get into the funnel to paint the inside black is going to have to go through that grill, which means it's going to get hit by a lot of paint if I need to paint the entire inside of the funnel after the grill has been installed. That could cause problems and make paint pool and drip on the funnel's grill. I want to avoid that, so I need to paint it before the grill is installed. So that is why I'm painting the inside at this point. Once the inside is painted, the funnels can be set aside and I can start the construction of the grills themselves. These grills are not good. They have been badly designed by FlyHawk. The reason why I say that is because it requires you to impart the identical curve on all sides of an individual grill and then also to replicate that for a second time. And that is something that is very difficult to do. You can design these grills in such a way that the curve is provided for you. This is something that I saw when I was building the grill cap for the HMS Prince of Wales that has a Pontos super detail upgrade kit. In their design, each arm of the grill is a single piece that you then cut off the fret and interlock with the other arms of the grill, such that you get the correct shape every time. Now, that might sound more complicated to build because you have to attach all these individual sections of grill together to form the overall grill. But because they have notches that interlock with each other, as you build it up, it forms its shape very well. And then, once the thing is fully constructed, you can then apply a little drop of glue to the joint areas to secure everything in place. And in doing it that way, you get a consistent shape every single time, and it fits the model very well. It also allows you to better control the areas where the grill joins together, which makes it a lot stronger. This grill, you have to bend it yourself, and then the connection points between the ring that attaches to the top of the funnel and this grill structure that goes on top of the ring are literally just points where you have to perfectly position them and then glue them down using tiny drops of super glue. It is very difficult to do. It's a bad design. I would much prefer a slightly bulkier design of grill that is easier to construct. I think that would give you a better effect simply because it would look neater. As you saw, I tried to get the initial shape of the legs of this grill using the underside of a measuring spoon. That got me some way, but then required further tweaking with tweezers to bend them a little bit more to get them into the right shape. Once I had the grill shaped as best as I could get it without damaging it too much, I then proceeded to glue it to this oval shaped structure. I decided to leave this oval ring attached to its fret while I glued it in place. This is just to make it easier to handle and to give it at least some strength, because this part is incredibly delicate. After a lot of fiddling around and applying extra thin super glue to the tips of these very thin wires, I did manage to get it glued down. But it was not easy, and these joints are not as neat as I would like them to be. One fortunate thing for these funnel caps is that they will be painted in black, and black is quite a forgiving color. It should hide a lot of the imperfections. So there is that to keep in mind. If it's not perfect, it'll probably still be okay. Once all these little bars were glued in place, I then cut the ring off of its fret. This then brings me on to the next problem with these grills. The mounting point for the grill to the top of the funnel are these little legs that you have to bend down. And once again, it's just a piece of wire that you have to bend into position. The problem is that there's no guide for how you should bend these components. You have to guess their final position, and they can bend in all directions, which means getting them straight and at the right angle such that the grille fits perfectly on the top of the funnel is almost impossible. So once again, I did my best to try and get them in the right position, and then proceeded to position the grille on the funnel cap. Once again, with such a small contact area to glue the funnel cap down, there was a bit of trial and error as to how I should go about the installation. Initially, I tried to apply drops of extra thick super glue to the tips of these pins, basically, but that didn't work so well. In the end, I found the best approach was to apply a thin layer of extra thick super glue around the entire perimeter of the top of the funnel cap, and then place the funnel grille into that glue. Even then, it was still quite difficult to get it seated properly and properly attached. But after a lot of trial and error and moving and repositioning and a lot of super glue and a lot of super glue accelerator, I did eventually manage to get the thing reasonably well attached. It's not perfect. It's not how I would like it to be, but it's better than the plastic, and it, well, is acceptable, I guess. But to really know how it's going to look, I need to see what it looks like in black. So before I even started construction of the second funnel grille, just to see how bad this is going to be, I decided to paint this funnel's grille in black so I could get a look at it. And it's fine. It's not great. If I look closely at it, I can see lots of things that I am not happy with, but it's good enough. So I will live with this grille, and I'll construct the other one and install it in the same way, and it should be okay. So that's what I then proceeded to do. I followed the same process, started bending the grille using the underside of a measuring spoon, further adjusted the bend on these arms using tweezers, glued it to the ring while the ring was still attached to its fret, cut the ring off of the fret, bent the little legs down into position, applied a layer of extra thick super glue to the top of the funnel cap, lowered the grille into that glue, fiddled around for a long time trying to get the legs to stick properly and to be at least decently aligned, and then painted the grille in black. I then let out a sigh of relief that this was done and vowed to check instruction manuals of super detail upgrade kits in the future to see how their funnel grills are designed, because I don't want to have to do this again. This is something I'm going to be looking for before I purchase detail upgrade kits in the future. I want to see a funnel grill that's been well designed. Although this hasn't been an abnormally long video for you, constructing these funnel grills took a long time. So I'm going to end this video now, and in the next video I will continue by adding details to these funnels. There's actually a lot of detail that goes onto these funnels, so that's going to require a video of its own. If you would like to support this channel or see how this ship looks when it is completed, then please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Cheers.